Okay, good morning, everyone. Apparently, I just got a message that says that Blackboard kicks people out. So if it kicks you out, don't worry too much about it. Just log out, log back in, and yeah, don't worry too much about it. Don't stress or anything. It's fine. So like I said, we're going to start off chapter 2 today. So we finished chapter 1 last week, where we spoke about Maslow, about the very limited resources that we have, as well as the different economic systems that we have in a country. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen with you, and then we're going to start with chapter 2. Are you guys all fine? Everyone's happy? You guys are so quiet today. Is it maybe the rainy weather? I think it might be the rainy weather. Okay, so guys, like I said, we're going to start off chapter 2, and chapter 2 is the nature of entrepreneurship. So we are going to look at entrepreneurship and at starting your own business in the form of an entrepreneurship. So guys, remember, when you decide to start a business, you are essentially becoming an entrepreneur. Okay, that's what the goal is. And remember, like I said last week, Cyril Ramaphosa, our president, is very adamant about the starting new businesses because it creates jobs. And that's also what we're going to look at today as well. So guys, the theme or the outcomes for today is that there's actually only one theme, so only one core or big outcome that we have. And you must be able to explain entrepreneurship in your own words. You must be able to discuss the role of entrepreneurship as well as small businesses and what's the difference between entrepreneurship and a small business. Also looking at the role of entrepreneurship in South Africa, the traits that an entrepreneur needs to possess, the elements of the entrepreneurial process, a feasibility study, as well as the value of this feasibility study to the entrepreneur. So guys, first thing, what do you guys think is an entrepreneur? What if you have to define the term entrepreneur? What would you say? What would be the top 4 or 5 things be that how you would define an entrepreneur? So guys, you're more than welcome to switch your mics on. You can tell me how you would define an entrepreneur. Other students like to chat in the boxes. Okay, Daniela says someone who took a risk and started their own business as well as financially supported. Lesedi, what are you saying? Okay, guys, what are other definitions of an entrepreneur? What do you guys think the definition of an entrepreneur is? The number one thing that I will say is someone that is taking a risk, because it is risky to start your own business. You can actually work for someone else and have that security of knowing that you're going to get a salary every month, where if you start a business, it's not guaranteed that it's actually going to be successful. So you have to take that risk. Okay, so someone that starts a business looking for profit, someone who developed an idea plan and then started their own business. So guys, entrepreneurs also sees gaps in the market, and then so they see a gap in the market and then they try and fulfill that specific gap or satisfy that specific gap in the market. Yes, someone who finds a gap in the market and starts a business to fulfill that gap. Okay. So guys, the entrepreneur is the driving force behind an organization. It is the entrepreneur who decides how, by whom, and for whom the products and services should be produced. Like I just said, entrepreneurs saw a gap in the market and they are trying to fill that gap by satisfying a need that someone might have. So the entrepreneur is someone who starts a business, okay, number one mark, with the intention of making a profit, 2 marks, and assumes the risk of losing all of his resources if the company fails. So guys, remember in chapter 1, we spoke about the 4 main factors of production, which was natural resources, human resources, financial resources, and then the last one is entrepreneurship. So these are the resources that we spoke about. So guys, what I've also done is I've linked some YouTube videos this time for you. So if you're struggling a bit with just entrepreneurs and what is entrepreneurship, so I quickly want to show you this video. Let me just quickly, oops. Let me just quickly share my screen with you, and then I want to show you guys this video. So this is actually the top 10 entrepreneurs in South Africa. I think this was the 2019 one. So there was also the 2018 one, but this is the 2019 one. Let me quickly make this nice and big for you.
Your small business tough with the advantage of QuickBooks. Save time with QuickBooks Smart. My name is Lurik Marishane, the founder of Headboy Industries. I've had many goals over my life, but the one that has really defined who I am in my professional journey has been the way to provide hygiene to 2 billion people around the world who can't bath. I grew up in this little town called Mutatema. Growing up in a community like this, water's always been a problem. Even though everyone would laugh at me when I told them I was trying to figure out a way for people to bathe without water, I felt like I'd found a really great solution. Besides the fact that I had to type my 40-page business plan on my cell phone because I didn't have a laptop, the toughest mountain for us to climb with the Dropout product was actually bringing it to life. We didn't have the money to make the prototype. We had to take a whole 4 years at university to raise over R1 million in funding, winning every single business plan competition we could get our hands on. And after that, we had developed the world's best waterless hygiene solution.
Hello and welcome to Mzansi Videos. Today I bring you top 10 richest young people in South Africa. Please click on the subscribers button and click on the like button for more informative and entertaining content. Now taking the number 10 spot is Ludwig Marishane. For those who may not know this fellow, he is the man who invented the world's first way to bath without using water. He is the inventor of dry bath and also the founder of Headboy Industries. He came up with the idea while he was having a conversation with a friend in high school, and while wondering if there was a way that he could just keep a bath and still remain clean and healthy enough to survive. It was this conversation that sparked the idea of the development of dry bath. Now, dry bath is a gel that does all the work of a bath without water. At the age of 28, he's already secured contracts with armies, airlines, hotel groups, and other travel industry services. In 2011, he was rated as the best student entrepreneur in the world, and Google also named him as one of the top brightest minds in the world. And coming up at number 9 is Max Hughesman. He's the founder of Elegance Group and has also participated in the 2015 Swimming Olympic Games. He runs an aviation business under the Elegance Group, and this also includes Elegance Air, Sport Consulting, and Aviation Consulting. And to top it all up, he was born in Accra, which is the capital of Ghana, and was raised in Germany, but later made a move to build a home in South Africa, thus proving that the grass is greener here in South Africa, regardless of who you are or where you are from, and he's only 30 years of age. And ranked at number 8 is the only female on our list, and also at the age of 29, she's a multi-millionaire with a string of income-generating businesses, varying from logistics and printing. She goes by the name of Mabasutu Murendo Mukwege. And Douglas Woodley takes the number 7 spot with only 28 years of age. He started his first business at the age of 19 when he was still at the University of Cape Town. It was a matric tutoring business called Rhythms Education. He later moved into selling wines with personalized labels for birthdays and anniversary celebrations. He is also the founder of Carry Payments, which is a platform that helps schools to collect payments. And coming up at number 6 is Rupert Bryant, who's only 28 years of age. He started and ran a web developing company at the age of 14. He got into a joint venture with a friend at the age of 16. He is the chief operating officer of the internet service provider called Web Africa. He started Web Africa with his friend with barely nothing, and it is now a 130 million rand per annum company. And taking the number 5 spot is Sandile Shades. Being loved for selling muffins at school never killed the entrepreneurial spirit of this young fellow. He risked all of his tuition fee while he was still at Durban University of Technology, which was a long shot that made him into multi-millionaire today. Forex trading is the reason he is counted among the top 10 richest young people in South Africa today. And Mike Ellison is the 4th richest young South African with only 28 years of age. This is an unusual story of a waiter turned into an entrepreneur. He is the founder of the media group company Live Out Loud. He has been keeping a record of over 100,000 of South Africa's businessmen since from a young age. This led to the development of the Multi-Millionaires magazines, and the idea came to life in November 2007 when Live Out Loud was born. And at number 3, we have Duduzane Zuma. He's the son of former President Jacob Zuma and Kate Zuma. He holds 12.5% stake in Aigobi Consortium through his company, Mabengela Investments. Aigobi is part of an ANSA-BEE deal in respect of 26% of the company's operating assets, together with an employee stock ownership plan for an aggregate value of 9.75 billion rand. And taking the number 2 spot is Adipi Nari, who's only 32 years of age. He's the founder of the company Who Themes, which is a company that designs and develops customizable commercial themes and plugins for WordPress. He founded the company in 2007 with a bootstrap budget. The company generates over $3 million in an annual revenue, which is just around 45 million rand in South African current exchange rate. The company also develops and sells themes for other content management systems, including Tumble. He's also the founder of Public Beta, which is a service that allows very successful entrepreneurs to transfer knowledge to new startups. And the richest young person in South Africa, ladies and gentlemen, is Vusi Tembekwai. He is a life full of accolades and reaching milestones. He was ranked as number 1 in public speaking in Africa and also has the best keynote speaker alive today. He spoke in 4 continents and has addressed over 250,000 people each year. At the age of 25, Vusi was the youngest director of a multinational, selling over 17 billion rand each year, and where he also served on the operations board. And that is all I had for you folks. Please don't forget again to click on the subscribers button and
okay, so guys, interesting, hey? For those of you, I mean, the guys, this is you. These entrepreneurs is around 25 to 30 years old. By the time you guys are done with your degree, is more or less where you guys are going to be. So don't ever say, oh no, I don't have money, I don't have this, or I don't have that. See actually where these entrepreneurs came from, and they actually saw a gap in the market and they didn't give up. They took that risk to actually start a company. Okay, so I hope that was interesting to you guys to see the top 10 young entrepreneurs, not old entrepreneurs that are 60s and 70s that we can't identify with. Actual young entrepreneurs that are just a little bit older than what you guys are. So guys, if we go back to the slides. Okay, so let me just quickly get there. So guys, in your textbook, it does differentiate between entrepreneurship and the entrepreneur. Okay, So the entrepreneurship is essentially the process of creating and building something that is of value. So it's the actual business. It is an act that you do. You're building the business. For instance, you have very little resources. So it's having the determination to succeed at all odds. It's a process of starting a new business, of sometimes failing and sometimes succeeding. And it is the reward for the initiative being the profit, and the punishment. I don't really like using the word punishment, because sometimes you can still do everything right and then you still make a loss, or the company still is not successful. So it is a reward for actually taking risk, and the reward that you get for taking that risk is profit, but sometimes something can go wrong and then there can be a loss. So an entrepreneur itself is, let's quickly check who's chatting. Let's quickly check. Sorry, guys. Guys, are you not seeing the slides? Let me quickly see. Let me quickly see again. Aha. Okay. Better. I think you guys can see the slides now, correct? Okay, you guys can see my slides now, correct? Yes, 100%. Okay, so guys, the entrepreneur is an actual person. So the entrepreneur is someone who starts the business with the intention of making a profit. He assumes the risk of losing all the resources that he has put into this company if the company doesn't succeed. He decides what, how, by whom, and for who the products and services need to be produced, and he mobilizes or uses the very scarce resources that we have. Remember those 4 main resources that we have. He utilizes that to actually satisfy the specific need of or the gap that he saw in the market. So guys, being an entrepreneur, obviously there's always different ideas or concepts that people have about entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurs are people that are creative. So they saw this gap in the market. If you, for instance, take the first entrepreneur that we saw that started dry bath, he saw this gap in the market. He said, how can people still bath without using water? And then he created this gel that you can then use to still clean yourself with. So they have innovative ideas. They actually have all these interesting ideas that they want to do. They want to, for instance, start a product or start a service. They identify opportunities. So once again, we're going back to the gap in the market. They identify gaps in the market. They find resources to pursue opportunities for financial gain. They take a financial risk, and in general, they also take a risk. And then they bring about change, growth, and wealth in the economy. They re-energize the economies, and they create jobs, and they start, manage, and grow sustainable small businesses. So guys, this is everything that an entrepreneur consists of. Okay, when you get this in a test, you need to be able to answer what are the different concepts of an entrepreneur. So they are creative, they have innovative ideas, they can identify opportunities, they find resources, pursue those opportunities for financial gain, they can take a financial risk, and they bring about change, growth, wealth into the economy, re-energize economies because they create jobs, and they start, manage, and grow the sustainable small business. And guys, remember what I said last week of chapter 1. You guys are always going to hear the word sustainable. No company wants to only be in office for 6 months, for instance. So you want to be in office for the next 5 or 10 or 20 years. So guys, I've got 2 more videos on YouTube. This is just videos that talks about entrepreneurs, what entrepreneurs are. And I mean, you are more than welcome to go and watch these videos. I think if we have some time later on, I will also show you some of these videos. So guys, the renaissance of entrepreneurship. So renaissance essentially means the rebirth of entrepreneurship. So what the textbook is kind of hinting at is that for a long time, we didn't really have a lot of entrepreneurs. We didn't really have a lot of businesses or companies that were starting. So we kind of just carried on. We were employees. We just kind of carried on. Guys, can you still see my slides? Because I'm getting an error that says your connection isn't good. I don't want to reload. Are you guys can still, yes, okay, I'm not going to reload. Like I said earlier, for those of you that logged in a bit later, they did say there's something wrong with Blackboard. So if you guys get kicked out or I get kicked out, you'll know why. Okay, so guys, the Renaissance says that, remember, employment is closely linked to the state of the economy. The more people that you have that are unemployed, the less money they have to actually spend in the economy. And what happens, they actually become a burden for the government because the government needs to provide grants to those people. So by actually having a lower employment rate and starting businesses, you are actually killing two birds with one stone, because you have less employment and you have an increase in small businesses that are opening. So an entrepreneurial revolution really does revitalize an economy, and it creates a life-changing new businesses. And guys, even if you one day employ 5 or 10 people, I mean, you can start really small and from there on grow your business. That's fine. That is 5 more people that actually have a job now, or 10 more people that actually have a job. And so in South Africa, the lack of entrepreneurship has contributed to the decline in the, in South Africa, the other way around. So in South Africa, if there's a decline in entrepreneurship, there's an increase in the unemployment rate. So the more small businesses that we have that are starting, we have a decline in the unemployment figure, because we can actually employ those people. So entrepreneurship is essentially the spark that puts all the production factors in motion. Guys, if you take a simple job, for instance, like the dry bath that this entrepreneur started, he is actually using resources from other companies. He's buying those resources from other companies. He's doing marketing. He's using a company to, for instance, do marketing. He needs the products that he can package the product in. So, and he's using all of those companies. So by those companies now also have work again. They have an increase in people buying from them, even if it's just something as small as a little container to put the gel in. By having a small business, you are also helping the people around you, your stakeholders, the people that you buy your raw materials from. You're actually helping them as well. So guys, in South Africa, our current unemployment rate is about 30%. And so that's a third of all people. Everyone is a third. Okay, so if there are 30 of us in class, that's essentially 10 people that don't have work at the moment. So in COVID, 3 million South Africans lost their jobs during COVID. So through retrenchment, or the companies are just closing. So that is an additional 3 million people that now don't have work. And women, once again, we can say once again, were bearing the brunt of it, because of the 3 million job losses, 2 million of them were women, and only 1 million obviously were men. So this is quite an issue at the moment, is how do we revitalize the economy coming out of COVID, still very much being inside of COVID. How do we revitalize the economy, encourage people to start their own businesses? Okay, and this is the problem that we currently have in South Africa. So guys, the other problem that we have in South Africa, remember when in chapter 1 we spoke about the GDP. So last year our GDP, our gross domestic product, was only 281 billion US dollars, and the year before I think it was 350 billion US dollars. So the problem that we have is the growth rate at which the South African economy is growing is actually busy declining. So what it is essentially saying is our economy is not growing. And we need our GDP to grow in order to improve the economic growth. And this is where entrepreneurs comes in, because they actually focus on growing their businesses. For instance, guys, if you look at the GDP in South Africa, we actually so our growth rate in 2019 was 0.7%. In 2018, it was 0.8%. They are projecting it in 2020 to be 1.1, and maybe in 2021 1.8. Guys, the problem is we need a growth rate of 6% to have economic growth in South Africa, to actually move forward instead of backward. So that is why every year the government says, no, we think we're going to grow between 3 and 5% this year. And then it sounds so good, but by the end of the year, they're like, sorry, we actually only grew with 1%. We need to get to 6% to actually have our economy grow, to actually create jobs for our citizens. Okay, so this is very worrying. And that is why, like I've said, that's what Cyril Ramaphosa is really encouraging people to start their own business, to start small businesses. So guys, when we look at the role of entrepreneurs and small businesses in South Africa, I do not want you to become confused between what is an entrepreneur and what is a small business. Okay. So guys, if you look at entrepreneur, so the first one, they do the same thing. So entrepreneurs satisfy needs and wants by mobilizing natural, human, and financial resources. Small business owners satisfy needs as a way of earning a personal income. So both entrepreneurs and small business owners satisfy needs. They start a business to satisfy someone's need. So the entrepreneur is responsible for the growth and survival of the business, and the small business owner is also responsible for the survival and profitability of the business. The entrepreneur is likely to take risks in order to grow his business. So he actually wants his business to be somewhere. He has goals that he wants to achieve. He wants to have 50 or 100 employees after a year, for instance, where a small business owner actually has no intention of taking the risk to grow his business. So guys, a small business owner, you guys know, we all know these people. So think of a cafe owner. Okay, think of someone that has like a small fruit and veg shop. Okay, that's all they want to do. They started a business. They said there's a need for to sell fruits and vegetables here, and that's their little business. Okay, they're not affiliated with anyone. They are just happy to start their own business. Okay, we're an entrepreneur on the other side. Entrepreneurs want to grow. They want to take that risk of actually growing the business. With small business owners, if they make their 10,000 or 20,000 Rand a month profit, they are happy. Okay, they do not care about growing their business. They just want to do something that that will keep bringing in the money. Sorry guys, I just quickly want to plug in my laptop, otherwise I'm going to lose you guys pretty soon. Okay, so guys, do you understand the difference between an entrepreneur and a small business owner? Okay, entrepreneurs, they both start off the same. They both have identified needs that they want to fulfill. Entrepreneurs essentially keep on growing. They keep on adding to the business. They keep on adding employees. Well, small business owners, local fish and chips shop, for instance, they are just happy selling their fish and chips. They don't have any growth prospects in terms of they want to open a second shop, or they want to, for instance, open a bigger shop. They don't really care about that. They just want to sell their fish and chips. Okay, so guys, 25% of youths feel that they have the skills and the knowledge to start a business, but only 13% indicated their willingness to start a business. So how are you guys feeling? If you have to, are you thinking of starting your own business maybe? What are your thoughts around that? Do you guys want to start your own business, or are you happy to work for someone else one day? What are your thoughts around starting your own business? Do any of you guys want to start your own businesses? Do any of you guys maybe already have your own business? Even if it's something small, like just selling muffins. Okay, do any of you already have your own business? Or are you thinking of maybe starting your own business when you are done with your qualification? Have you guys maybe identified some gaps in the market that you say, ooh, that might be a very good business opportunity? What are some of your thoughts? Anyone, guys? Anyone? Okay. So let's continue then. Oh, okay, wait. Okay, so Claudia says that she would like to start a business, but she would maybe first just work for someone else. Yeah, and that makes sense, because you maybe just first want to try out the market and then take it from there. And guys, also the other thing is that we're actually going to talk about it later. Sometimes you work for a company and you work there for 10 or 15 years, and then you identify a specific gap. So if you, for instance, take King Price, the CEO of King Price actually worked for another insurance company, and he saw a gap in the market, and he said, let me use this gap. And that's when he started King Price. So he used his past experience that he had in terms of in the insurance industry. He used that to start King Price. So guys, some of the traits and characteristics of entrepreneurs, and you also need to know this. The first one is achievement motivation. So they have a higher need to achieve something. They want to, they've identified this gap. They want to create this product or service to actually satisfy this gap in the market. They have an internal locus of control, so they want to be in charge of their own destiny. They don't necessarily want to work for someone. They don't want someone to tell them what to do. They rather want to work for themselves. Then you have innovation and creativity. We've spoken about innovation and creativity. The fact that they actually saw that opportunity or saw that gap in the market is this part of creativity. Obviously, they take risk-taking. They take risks, and then other traits, high levels of energy. They've got a lot of confidence. They are optimistic. So entrepreneurs, I don't know if you guys know any entrepreneurs in your family or anyone that has started a business. You'll see that they are quite optimistic about the future. Even when COVID hit, they'll say, you know what, COVID hit, but you know what, it taught me so many lessons that I can now learn from COVID. So every single opportunity that exists, they learn from. They have a passion. So obviously when you start your own company, you need to have a passion for your product. You can't just start a company and then every time your customers get to your shop, it says back in 5 minutes, back in 5 minutes. Can't do that. You need to have a passion for your specific product or company that you started. So guys, if we look at the industry and skills experience of entrepreneurs, they need to have skills and knowledge about the product. So either it will be because they have already worked in that specific industry, or it is because they have researched that gap in the market, they've researched alternative products, and then they still identified the gap and said, you know what, I need to create this product, like the dry bath gel, for instance. They have a quest for independence. They don't want to be tied down to an 8-to-5 job. They want to be independent. They want to make their own decisions. They also need to have experience, training, as well as education. And so, guys, the textbook describes 2 types of entrepreneurs. So the first one is your necessity entrepreneur. So, guys, when you come to second here, you'll do a module called Small Business Management. So small business management, in small business management, a necessity entrepreneur is also called a reluctant entrepreneur. So when you come to second year and you hear the word reluctant entrepreneur, this is a necessity entrepreneur. So this is, for instance, someone that has been retrenched and they need a new idea. They need a new option on how to actually make money. So guys, an example here is Oryx Salt. I think you guys know Oryx Salt. I think you've probably seen Oryx Salt before. And this was actually started by a woman who got divorced. So she actually, initially when she was still married, she assisted her husband to import and export salt out of South Africa. And then they got divorced. She had a 3-year-old boy. And then she walked through Namibia. So she walked, I think it was around, like 120 kilometers. She walked through Namibia like a solitary walk that she did. And that's where she saw the oryx. So the oryx is a type of bug. And she actually read that the oryx can go for 3 months without water, but only for 3 days without salt. And that's why she called her business Oryx Salt. So the entrepreneur's name is actually Samantha Sky Ring. And she then started Oryx Salt all on her own. Okay, so she's clearly an example of a necessity entrepreneur because she got divorced. She had nothing else. She had no other job, no other opportunities. And that is why she then started the Oryx Salt. And now it is worth a few billion rand actually. Okay, the Oryx Salt company. This is actually a link that you can click on from News 24, and you guys are more than welcome to go and read about Samantha. So guys, the next type of entrepreneur that you can sometimes get is an opportunity entrepreneur. So this is someone that actually sees an opportunity in the market and they are driven by opportunity. So an example here is iFix. I think you guys will know iFix. They are in, there's one in Menlyn, for instance. So this is Alex Fourie. So Alex Fourie actually studied at the University of Cape Town, and he had an Apple iPod that he could not get fixed. So what Apple initially said to him is that he needs to buy a new Apple iPod. And he just thought, well, why do I have to keep on buying a new iPod if I can just fix it? Except there's no company in South Africa that fixes Apple products. So he then went onto YouTube, Googled ways on how he can actually fix his own iPod, and then he fixed his own iPod. And friends quickly started asking, please help us, can you fix our Apple products as well? And then he started fixing their products, or their Apple devices, and Samsung and Huawei devices as well. And then he put out a local ad. So it's like a small little ad in the newspaper, and he was bombarded with calls of people saying, please fix my Apple and Samsung products. And now that is how he opened the iFix stores all over the country. So what he saw is an opportunity. There was a gap in the market. Instead of buying a new Apple product, he is now fixing those Apple products. So guys, another opportunity that can sometimes arise, and this is an example of SAB, for instance. So another way that you can also become an entrepreneur is through outsourcing. So what SAB actually does is they don't own their trucks. Okay, the trucks that actually take the beer from SAB to the local, to Pick n Pays or to liquor stores, they actually is owned by other people. So what SAB have said is, we are not going to own our own trucks. Let's rather outsource that responsibility to someone else. And actually, some of the employees of SAB have bought their own trucks, they have their own drivers, and that's how they have started essentially their own company, by being truck drivers for SAB. So guys, outsourcing is when work is done for a company by people outside of the company. So for instance, like some companies also use Deloitte or PricewaterhouseCoopers to do their auditing, tax, and their advisory requirements. So instead of employing someone to do that for you, it is just so much easier to outsource that work to someone else. Instead of, for instance, doing your own marketing plan when you start a business one day and doing your marketing and your logos, you can just get a business that does it for you, because they specialize in that specific task. Deloitte, PricewaterhouseCoopers, they specialize in auditing and tax and advisory requirements. So rather than you trying to kind of do it yourself, it is sometimes better to just get to outsource that part of the work to someone else. It is also less stress on you, because you don't have to worry about getting that job done. And then you also create work for other people. So guys, what other reasons can you think of that you would like to become an entrepreneur, except outsourcing, necessity, and opportunity entrepreneurs? Are there any other reasons that you guys can think of why you would like to become an entrepreneur? Yeah, yes, you are your own boss. So that is definitely, guys, that's I think one of the biggest reasons is you can do what you want. You don't have someone that tells you what to do, by when to do it, and how to also do it. So you can actually really do your own thing. So guys, what I'm going to do is let's quickly take like a 10-minute break and then come back, and then we will continue with the chapter. After this slide, we actually have an activity. So we're going to watch another YouTube video, and then we can answer the questions about this activity. Okay, Otili also says you can make money and you can create job opportunities to other people. Okay, and that, guys, once again, that's really important. I mean, for instance, okay, let's quickly take a break. Otherwise, I'm going to go down the path, and then we're not going to have any breaks. Okay, so quickly take a break, and then I'll tell you guys about the cookies in Cape Town.